We welcome you to Madison, Wisconsin, and the tradition-rich Camp Randall Stadium, where today the Wisconsin Badgers are out to prove themselves against the undefeated Ohio State Buckeyes. It is senior day here at Wisconsin, and for an entire class that's experienced some of the highest highs the program's ever known, back-to-back Rose Bowls, 17 Big Ten wins since 2010, most in the league. This is their moment. Mike Taylor, tackling machine, grew up just outside of Green Bay. Among this group of accomplished seniors for the Badgers, Ricky Wagner, who was just a 240-pound walk-on tight end when he arrived on campus. Now he's the big 300-plus starting left tackle. And then there's number 28. Monte Ball, who comes into the day with 77 career touchdowns, out to break the all-time record in college football history. He says it would be the ideal to do it here at home in his final game in front of these fans. But what a challenge he has. Ohio State, one of the remaining 4 unbeatens, they have arrived. A look at the standings. Wisconsin has already secured a spot in the Big Ten title game in Indianapolis, but you can imagine how much they want to prove that they belong with Ohio State out in front of them. Of course, they're ineligible to get to Indy because of the NCAA sanctions. As we say good afternoon, everybody, Joe Tessitore alongside Matt Millen. We will check in with Quint Kesnick in moments. So Ohio State is 10-0, Matt. They're number 6 in the AP poll, but you talk to Urban Meyer and he says this isn't a great team. It's a very good team, not a great team. One place they are great is with a dynamic playmaker at quarterback, Braxton Miller.
Yeah, because he's a great player and he does a multitude of things, and the key to Braxton Miller is awareness. He can beat you a lot of different ways, but in the passing game, when he drops back, if you don't have great awareness of where he is, then he'll beat you. And once you get hip to hip, right when you get even with him, he's gone. Once he sees it, if you're playing man outside, or even if you're in zone, his legs get them out of a lot of problems. But it's not just his feet and legs, Joe, because in his bye week, he worked on his mechanics. He's improved. He throws an excellent ball. He's a dual threat guy, and he's the best player probably that this Ohio State team has to offer.
As for Wisconsin, they are on to their 3rd starting quarterback this year. But history could be made in the backfield today, and Monte Ball, we know exactly what you're getting with that Wisconsin offense.
Well, they showed up and they said, you know, Monte, let's just run the football a little bit. Well, he set the record a year ago. He's about to break it today if he can. 1 to tie, 2 to break. Monte Ball is everything you want. He finishes his runs. They will ride him today strongly, and they're going to need him against Ohio State because Kurt Phillips, just making his 2nd start, a 5th-year senior, had 3 ACLs. He's had some problems. You want to take the pressure off him and make Monte Ball do the majority of the work if you're a Wisconsin Badger.
It has been a roller coaster ride all year long for Wisconsin. Now they hope to be peaking towards the top. But can they be the ones to disrupt the Buckeyes' undefeated year? We find out next. Glad you're with us here. Joe, Matt, and Quint here in Madison, back at Camp Randall, where 2 years ago, Ohio State was the number 1 team in the country. Badgers upset them. Today, Wisconsin trying to conquer a 10-0 Buckeyes team. Ohio State won the toss. They deferred. Wisconsin will receive. Drew Basil will be kicking off. Kenzel Doe and Jared Abbrederis, who's going to play, expected to play a big role for the Wisconsin offense, back deep for the Badgers. Urban Meyer, what an opening year he's had at Ohio State to start his tenure. 11th year as a head coach, but returning home to the state he was born in, and he has the Buckeyes at 10-0. Kenzel Doe from the 6. And Doe with a good return all the way out past the 40-yard line to the 43, where he was taken down by Ron Tanner. So Kurt Phillips, fifth-year senior who has overcome 3 reconstructive surgeries on his right knee, out there again last week, the first start he had going all the way back to high school, Matt.
It's amazing. He's not a lot of wear and tear in terms of throwing and experience, but a lot of wear and tear on that knee just from being beat up. But he feels confident with it. They're going to need him to make plays today, obviously.
Play action to open up the game. Takes a strike downfield, and he's able to incomplete. It came loose just as Chase Hammond hit the ground. Had it in his hands, and then he lost it when he hit the ground.
The ball was right there. I mean, he had to kind of come back to it, but he has to maintain possession all the way through. Hammond had a shot at it. I mean, it was obviously in his hands. Travis Howard had the coverage, but you've got to make those plays.
Saw some pressure there from John Simon, the outstanding defensive end for Ohio State there on Kurt Phillips, but he was able to release it downfield. Now here's Ball. Ball tests the inside, then bounces it to the outside, and able to make the most of it to the 49. Let's take a look at today's impact players, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Well, when you watch this Wisconsin team, you're going to always be talking about Monte Ball. He's a kid. They're going to ride him hard. Aberderis is the receiver downfield. He's the guy they can trust, and he can make plays down the field. And on defense, big Bo Allen, Mr. Cankles. He's a big, thick man. He will have to play a role in that run game to stop that Ohio State offense.
We'll see the big 300-pounder when they're out there on defense. For now, a 3rd and 4 for Kurt Phillips and the Badgers. Phillips with time down the field again and overthrown into the outside of Aberderis.
Aberderis had Howard beat. He had him beat. You cannot miss that thing. Nathan Williams had some pressure, but watch, it's a stop and he bites and he's got it. This is a throw. You're only going to get maybe 1 or 2 opportunities in a game. Aberderis had him beat. Phillips couldn't complete it.
Drew Meyer comes on to punt. And Chris Fields, a return man for the Buckeyes, sets his heels on the 10-yard line. Back rotation on this punt to the 15 with a fair catch by Fields. And we will see if the outstanding season continues for Braxton Miller, the sophomore quarterback for Ohio State, who leads the Big Ten in total offense.
Joe, he's done nothing but get better as the season's gone on. They put more and more on his shoulders, and he has responded. He needs to work a little bit mechanically on his throws, but he throws a really nice ball.
Going to keep it himself to open up the game. And he breaks the first tackle and then taken down at the 21. One of the big stories is who's not there for Wisconsin defensively. Here's Quint.
And that is Wisconsin linebacker Chris Borland. Is dealing with a hamstring issue all season long. Re-injured it last week at Indiana. Did not practice this week. He's actually on the sideline in sweats and a t-shirt. He will not play. This is a major, major injury, as a pass out into the flat is incomplete. You're going to see Wisconsin play a lot more nickel and dime coverage because of Borland's absence. Second leading tackler, leads the team in sacks. This is a big deal for the Wisconsin defense.
Miller unable to connect with Corey Brown, so that leaves him with a 3rd and 4. And Quint detailed the injury to Borland. Big loss for that Badgers defense.
Joe, this is the down that Wisconsin has to win. They've got to win third downs. If they do that, they'll be in this game as this game goes on.
Miller, design quarterback run, and he gets it with ease and spins his way to the 32. He picked up a nice block from Carlos Hyde.
Yeah, the running back, number 34, you're going to see him as the fake, and then he's just going to use it as a lead. He gets to that backer. He knows what he has to get for the first down. They get it. Live for another one.
Quickly to the line are the Buckeyes. And they go with the screen to Devin Smith. And Smith cuts to the left of the blockers in front, and he's out to the 38-yard line, tackled by Hillary.
They'll throw, and they'll make a couple of throws, but make no mistake about it, this team goes, the Ohio State Buckeyes go, as Braxton Miller goes. And so defensively, if this front seven can handle Braxton Miller, that'll be the key to their win.
Rod Smith now joins Hyde in the backfield on 2nd and 4. Here's the read, and Miller untouched until he got to the 46-yard line, where he was met by Mike Taylor.
Now this guy, you know, everything's been said about Braxton Miller, but he is truly special in the run game. He has everything you need, all the requisite things. He's got power, he's got speed, he can make you miss, he slips tackles, he's legit.
So a first down to the 46. Quickly gets it out to Smith, and Smith lowers the shoulders for 14 yards. The impact players brought to you by Chick-fil-A for Ohio State.
Well, Carlos Hyde is a running back in the backfield. People forget about him. That's a good football player. Corey Brown is a guy who leads the team with receptions. John Simon is their motor man on defense. All of those guys will make big plays today.
Miller downfield and through the hands of a wide open Jake Stoneburner. And I don't know about the shade of the stadium, but if you look at where it is, that's right where the sun comes onto the field, and he was looking back at that exact angle, Matt.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. He stuttered, and they lost him in the coverage, and what they picked up was the sun as a defender.
Just the unique scope of the stadium. You see where that shaded spot is, and he ran right into the sunny side of it. So a 2nd down and 10 now. Corey Brown, the receiver who we will see in the backfield often.
Which sets up 3rd down. And again, this is the down they've got to win. And they have to account for Braxton Miller in, you know, on all downs, obviously. But in passing situations, they're either going to have to spy him or do something to account for him. He'll beat you with his legs.
3rd and 7 as they go with the empty set here.
Timeout.
We get Wisconsin using a timeout.
First team timeout.
Buckeyes facing a 3rd and 7 when we return to Madison. Well, for mid-November here in Madison, Wisconsin, it is just a gorgeous afternoon. Badgers went 3 and out on their first possession. Ohio State looking to move the chains. 3rd and 7. Receivers are stacked. Trips to the near side for Braxton Miller. Design quarterback run, and they were on top of it right away. That's Mike Taylor. On senior day, Taylor comes up with an early stop.
And not only was it an early stop, but it was one-on-one right in the hole, and Taylor does a nice job. You're going to see him right here. They have everybody spread out, and he just holds his ground. What he did a nice job of is use his help to the inside and gave him one way to go. And once you did that, he was able to make the play. Well played.
Senior backer who had 22 tackles against Ohio State a year ago. Ben Buchanan on to punt. Aberdare is back. And it bounces just inside the 5 and then was batted back. And it is down at the 1-yard line. How about that? Orion Johnson on special teams, an outstanding play here.
Now keep in mind, the player can be in the end zone as long as the ball doesn't hit that goal line. That's fair game, and Johnson does a phenomenal job. Watch number 19. Although his foot is inbound, now at the NFL level, that would be a touchback. But in college football, that's a great play.
And then smart of Devin Smith also to get right on top of it. Outstanding special teams effort by the Buckeyes. And now the Badgers pinned in there. Phillips to pass from his own end zone. And he's able to get it to the reliable Jared Abbrederis. So just like that, some breathing room for Wisconsin.
Well, it looks like they like the matchup with Abbrederis and Travis Howard on the outside. I like this call. This is a great call. You go play action, you roll, buy some time with Kirk Phillips, and then Abbrederis on the outside. What's happening with Ohio State right now defensively is they like their matchups man-to-man. But it also appears that Wisconsin likes their matchup of Abbrederis in their man coverage.
James White on the fly motion, but Monte Ball with a good gainer for 12 yards. Travis Howard finally cut him down.
One thing you're going to see whenever you watch this Wisconsin offensive line, I think they've gotten better, Joe, as the year has gone on. But they do a great job of getting a body on a body. And Monte Ball does a really nice job of finding the holes and getting through. He does a great job of accelerating through the hole.
Seen a lot of emotion out of his mother, Melissa, today, earlier on game day, and here prior to kickoff on senior day. And Monte again able to keep his balance and move the sticks. 10 more yards for Ball.
Now this is just really well blocked. Look at, you can see the corridor right through the middle. That's just well blocked by that offensive line. And Ball, one of his strengths, he accelerates in, and once there's contact, he accelerates through. He finishes his runs. That's one of the things he does extremely well.
Facing an Ohio State defense that's number 2 in the Big Ten in rushing defense. Sprint to the near side, and he's able to get it complete to Frederick. Jordan Frederick, local product. And that's Travis Howard, who's down at the end of the play, starting cornerback for Ohio State.
Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator for Wisconsin, I really like what he's doing. And he was going after Travis Howard early with Abbrederis. And Howard's one of their good corners.
Howard has 4 interceptions on the year. One of those guys that really bought in to what Urban Meyer was trying to do after a rough spring. So as they tend to Travis Howard, we will step away with Wisconsin moving the ball here.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. Sylvania Silver Star Ultra headlights. Remember, headlights dim over time. Replace before burnout. And 7-Up. Make your parties refreshingly different with crisp, clean 7-Up.
That's a big, magnificent Wisconsin State Capitol building here in Madison. It was completed in 1917. Not far away from Camp Randall Stadium. Scoreless here early. Joe Tessitore alongside Matt Millen and Quint Kesnick. Travis Howard, starting cornerback for Ohio State, was just taken to the sideline moments ago. Dorian Grant comes in to replace him. 2nd and 6 now for the Badgers. Monte Ball. Be a yard short of the line to make. Look at the game plan for the Badgers that you came up with, Matt.
Well, there's a couple things that just stand out. They've got to be able to handle an 8-man front, because you're going to drop that safety down. And then on the outside, they have to win in man coverage. Most of that's going to be Aberderis. And defensively, Ohio State is going to get some big plays. They have to limit them. And when they do limit them, they have to be limited in a way that they're not 6 points attached to them.
So far, they've made the play calling manageable for Kurt Phillips to find some success.
Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator, is calling an excellent game. His game plan to start, you can see what they're doing. And here they are with their big package.
They go 8 men on the line of scrimmage, and they give Phillips a chance, and he comes up with it to Derek Rapp for a first down.
One of the things that Matt Canada likes to do is he likes to give you shifts and motions. Watch, as you can see, they're going to shift. Then you get the offense to adapt to it. Now look back here. Now you have an advantage. Come back underneath. You run it off. We're in the back underneath. Canada rolls, gets a roll action out of Kurt Phillips. He's got them down really well right now.
Here's James White on the direct snap, the backup running back who's so talented, and he stiff arms his way for a first down. Let's go to the studio and check in with Robert Flores. Robert?
All right, Joe, AT&T All-America Player of the Week nominee. It is Temple running back Monte Harris, trending right now on Twitter after his 351-yard rushing performance against Army, 7 touchdowns. Those are Big East records. Text vote to 34763. Results revealed on Thursday on ESPN.
Of course, Monte Harris, such a successful career at Boston College before transferring to play for head coach Steve Adazio and the Owls. This time, nothing doing for White as he was met by Ryan Shazier.
This Wisconsin offense is going to be very offensive line dependent today, both in the running game and in the pass game. Their success will be determined by how well this offensive line gets on people, not necessarily knocking them off the ball, but staying in contact and just doing a nice job of taking care of their assignment.
Phillips. Plenty of time to look over the options, and then he tried to get it to the outside to Monte Ball, but he was covered by Shazier.
Shazier got there just as the ball got there. Now you can hear the crowd. They're not too thrilled with the call. They're trying to say or thinking that that Shazier got there first, and they may have a case.
Like just a split second ahead of the ball there, but it leaves them with a 3rd and 12, and then the second reaction as they saw the replay.
3rd and 12.
So now Phillips in a hole, trying to extend the play and keep it alive, and then he just throws it away as John Simon was tracking him down.
But John Simon is like the ever-ready bunny. He never, ever quits. He's got a great motor. He keeps on coming. You sleep on John Simon, he will get you.
Ball on the 30-yard line. And instead of making the decision to attempt a 47-yarder, which would be 1 yard beyond the career long of their place kicker Kyle French, they send out Drew Meyer, the redshirt freshman punter.
A new 25-second clock due to the officials not having the ball down in time.
Remember, this drive started at their own 1 yard line. They did a good job, but that 3rd and long was a little too much for Phillips. And this will go for a touchback.
I'm surprised he didn't take a shot there. Test taking a field goal, it's a 47-yarder. It's a long one for him.
I stood next to French. He was good from 52 in warm-ups. Braxton Miller back to business when we return. Brett Bielema made the decision moments ago to punt away from the 30-yard line.
That surprises me, Tess. That'd be a 37-yard field goal. If they miss it, it's a net of 17 gain. If he goes for it there like Chip Kelly would, who knows what you get.
Chip will roll the dice anytime. Just give him the chance. And here is Carlos Hyde out ahead to the 27, tackled by Tyler Dipple. Bielema said to us this week that, okay, our record at 7-3, not as high as we've been in past years, but feels they're a really good football team right now. Braxton Miller, another first down to Corey Brown, and Brown able to spin his way to the 45-yard line.
Tess, that kid right there, Corey Brown, I think if you watch their tape from the beginning of the year to now, you can see that he's really grown. He's gotten a better feel in the pass game, and I think they have more confidence in Corey Brown.
First down now, Miller looking over his options, and he spins free that time. And look at him utilize his blocks for an 8-yard run. It was Tyler Dipple who came up, but he couldn't get a hold of Braxton Miller.
Yeah, Dipple had him. He just couldn't finish it. Now, this is the part that's underrated about Braxton Miller. He's a powerful guy. He runs through a lot of tackles.
6'2", 220, has the build of a premier running back, and he is this Ohio State offense. 2nd and 2 now. Hyde, one cut, and move the chains again, and still driving ahead. All right, Matt, I know you watched a lot of film on what Urban's doing this year. What's the game plan for the Buckeyes today?
Well, the first thing is you're going to have some consistency. They're going to be offensive line dependent. They've got to be able to block run game and pass game, but the big thing is in the run game. They got to lighten Braxton Miller's burden so that somebody's got to win on the outside, and then they've got to be able to make some plays, obviously, down the field.
Runs the option to the near side, looking for a block, and just making about 2 yards that time, as he was pursued down the line by the Wisconsin front, and it was Connor O'Neill who found him.
Because I think defensively, their linebacker play has to be good versus play action today. This Ohio State when they're on defense. Because that's why I think that Wisconsin will try to take advantage of.
Of course, Quinn Kesnick telling us just before kick that the middle linebacker, Chris Borland, unable to go today. He's been dealing with that hamstring, been very limited in practice. And he is not out there for the Badgers. 2nd and 7. Miller over the middle, and that is incomplete as he was trying to find Jake Stoneburner, but Shelton Johnson was right there.
Yeah, Shelton Johnson read the eyes of Braxton Miller, and he saw it perfectly. And just waited on it, and as soon as he saw the in break, his eyes went back to Miller, and he had a perfect break on the ball, which sets up this 3rd down. And we go back to what we said earlier. They've got to win on 3rd down.
Senior captain in his final home game. 3rd and 7. They came up with a stop last time.
They're going to get out of that.
Play clock is running down.
Timeout. Ohio State.
And it forces Urban Meyer to use a timeout. Facing a 3rd and 7 when we return to Madison. Stay with us. One of the 4 remaining unbeatens. Scoreless here early. Ohio State facing a 3rd and 7 against this Wisconsin defense playing without their starting middle linebacker, Chris Borland.
Given a lot of room up there in the slot. Safety's covering down on the inside receiver right up here.
As Borland looks on, quarterback run. Miller can't find any room. That was David Gilbert right on top of Braxton Miller.
Numbers on the inside, Tess. They gave him numbers on the inside, and Braxton Miller, he's going to try to this is going to be a planned run. It's going to be the old counter OT, but they hold the edge, and then Gilbert's able to finish it off. Sets up a 4th down.
Buchanan back on, and Aberderis setting up at the 10. Remember, they pinned them at the 1 last time they punted from this position, and they could again, but it goes in for a touchback. They had a chance there. Tonight on ABC's Saturday Night Football, Oregon's path to the national championship has a serious obstacle to overcome as they host number 13 Stanford. Number 2 Oregon, number 13 Stanford. Saturday Night Football presented by Windows 8 tonight, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. You and I have seen plenty of that Ducks offense, but it's the defense that's a concern now with some of the injuries.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of guys hurt. And that Stanford defense will play them tough. They'll be physical. They'll try to rush the passer. The whole key is going to be how well Oregon's defense can play, because offensively, they're going to score some points.
James White now gets his turn, replacing Monte Ball. Just a gain of 1. Here's Robert Flores.
All right, Joe, Taco Bell studio update. Nebraska looking for its first perfect home record since 2001. They are leading Minnesota 10-0. Taylor Martinez to Kenny Bell. It's 10-0 in Lincoln. Huskers over Minnesota.
Of course, Nebraska, an 8-win team, 5 wins in the Big Ten. Could be meeting up with Wisconsin, who's clinched their spot in the Big Ten title game, representing the leaders division, although Ohio State looking for a win here today to give them the leaders division outright and claim that trophy. They're ineligible for postseason play, of course, with the NCAA sanctions. As Ball takes it to the 25-yard line. It'll make for a 3rd and 5. And defensive back for Ohio State, Travis Howard, was injured. Saw them working on his neck moments ago. So Doran Grant takes his place. Grant, they consider one of these weight room warriors, real tough guy. Does have an interception on the season. Third and 5, Phillips. That is batted down at the line of scrimmage by John Simon.
The second time we've talked about John Simon. Just good awareness on the outside. He knows he's not getting, they had plenty of time to be able to throw, but then have the wherewithal to be able to get in that throwing lane up higher, which is what he does.
And Drew Meyer to punt. And Corey Brown, a chance to give the Buckeyes good field position here. It's a low line drive that Brown fields at the 32, and he breaks the first wave. Punter to beat. Goodbye. Hello end zone. Buckeyes strike first. .68-yard return for the touchdown. That punt by Drew Meyer had no hang to it whatsoever. And Corey Brown took advantage. And just like that, special teams puts Ohio State on the board. Nice snap, but it gets down for Drew Basil to put through. 7-0 Ohio State.
Brown knew exactly he was going to take it right up the middle, and the first thing he had to be able to do was beat 27 is Calzula right there. It was just a little zig. Here's your second guy. It's the punter, and it was history. He just did exactly what was in front of him, took advantage of it. 2 guys to beat. That was like stealing.
Corey Brown, the junior receiver who's been so capable in special teams play for Ohio State this year. 68-yard punt return. A couple times the offense came down the field and faced the 3rd and long, and they couldn't break through. And then the special teams does it. Second time this year that Corey Brown has had a punt return for a touchdown. Remember, it was special teams just a couple years ago that sparked the big win for Wisconsin when Ohio State was #1 in the country and visited Madison. And Kenzel Doe will take a knee. Let's take you back to that game in 2010 when Wisconsin was facing the then #1 team in the country, and David Gilreath returned the opening kickoff 97 yards for a touchdown. Wisconsin was up 21-3 before Ohio State made it a game. As they rallied back, Boom Herron, they were within 3. James White put the game away, 12-yard touchdown run in the 4th. And they knocked off the Buckeyes 31-18. Monte Ball didn't play that day. Actually was the spark, the inspiration, seminal moment in his career of being motivated to work harder and be better. And all he's done is turn into one of the very best, as the sack this time by John Simon. He's made an impact early.
Yeah, and this was just speed. He's going to go against that right tackle, number 78. You see Haverstein right there. And see, you see how he swiped that, Joe? He does an excellent job. That's from Mike Vrabel and from Mike Vrabel's coaching. He swiped the hands, and once you get to the hands, and then once you're hip to hip, you're a winner. And then he just accelerates off the edge and gets the sack. There's
6 sacks on the year, and there is Vrabel, former great. So it backs him up to a 2nd and 16. Ball. Monte Ball breaking tackles. Flag is down as Ball gets it out to the 31-yard line, but we will check on the flag back at the 20. Bill Lamagnier, our Big Ten referee this afternoon.
Holding, offense, number 72. Half the distance to the goal. Still 2nd down.
Travis Frederick, their center, who's widely acknowledged as the smartest, most steady player on the team.
Yeah, there he is right inside. It's Travis, and then see what he does. He just powers them, and I'm not so that doesn't look like a hold to me. Son.
Meanwhile, at the end of that play, C.J. Barnett, starting safety for the Buckeyes, was slow to get up. And the trainers, you can see, helping him as he's favoring that left leg. So Travis Howard out, and now C.J. Barnett out, Quinn.
Yeah, Travis Howard was taken inside the locker room. Stinger in his left arm, left hand. Talked to trainer Doug Callan. He said, we'll see. We're going to hold him and reevaluate at halftime. You got 2 members of the secondary right now who are banged up. It'll be interesting to see if they start matching up Bradley Roby with Abbrederis.
And number 3, Corey Brown, comes in. The other Corey Brown. That's Pittsburgh Corey Brown rather than Philly Corey Brown, as they would say around the Ohio State locker room. 2nd and 25. Here's Ball, and just rolling ahead for a couple yards, and it was Brown making the tackle as he comes in.
Well, I like the way Matt Canada has been calling this game so far, using dash, a little bit of movement with Kurt Phillips, the quarterback, and then mixing in Monte Ball, because Monte Ball, that's the diet. That's what you're going to get a steady diet of, and then you want to be able to use that with the play action game to be able to get on top of that.
See the clock counting down here at the end of the 1st quarter. Both offenses were moving the ball a bit, but the bend don't break defense, the only thing interfering with that was the punt return with Corey Brown, the difference in our game. Buckeyes up 7-0. Brown busted loose for a 68-yard return.
Let's have a little fun tonight.
Wisconsin started the year with high hopes for the transfer from Maryland, Danny O'Brien. He played the first 3 games at quarterback. He gave way to Joel Stave. He's now out for the year with a broken collarbone. And this is the second week that Kurt Phillips gets the start for the Badgers, a fifth-year senior who's been dealing with catastrophic injuries throughout his career, 3 times tearing the ACL in his right knee. And now Phillips in that Badgers offense facing a 3rd and 22. And they keep it on the ground, and Monte Ball can only make it to the 19-yard line. Ryan Shazier and Bradley Roby quickly meeting Monte Ball. Remember Drew Meyer, the last time he was out to punt, poor hang time. It was only 3.9. It was in the middle of the field, and Corey Brown took it back for a 68-yard return and a touchdown. This time they came after it, and it's a low liner that bounces, fielded by Brown at the 35, but the special teams coverage was there. That was Derek Watt with the tackle. Let's check in with Robert.
All right, Joe, check out what's going on between UCLA and USC. The Bruins scoring 24 unanswered points to open the game. That's Jonathan Franklin, the touchdown run. Trojans have scored their first touchdown, but they're still down 24-7 first half.
So much made of that rivalry being back to what it once was. And what a job by Jim Moore and Brett Hundley, the young quarterback at UCLA. Braxton Miller, blockers in front, but trying to get past Taylor. And finally coming up and making the play was Desmond Southward, the free safety.
And the whole key when Braxton Miller takes off and runs is you've got to be able to set that edge, because he's got the speed to be able to get to the edge. And unless your corner comes down and forces it back in for a safety or a backer to make a play, he'll still be running.
2nd and 13. Sprints to the near side, and he's able to get it complete to Brown.
Going to be about
his go-to receiver this year, Corey Brown.
And that's going to be about 3rd and 5. And again, we're back to where we were through the first quarter, Tess, and that's this Wisconsin offense, or defense rather, having to win on 3rd down.
They did it a couple times when Ohio State was threatening.
At one
now
point,
on the minus side of the field, it would really help flipping the field position.
Yeah, this Ohio State offense struggled a little bit against Michigan State and Penn State with the blitz, but they're not getting it here.
Look at the time he has, and he gets it complete to Brown for a first down, who fights his way towards midfield.
Well, Tess, you said it, lots of time to throw. That means good protection. Only a 4-man rush, but he has all day to be able to survey the field. And if you have that much time, Corey Brown's going to get open.
Carlos Hyde in that wing position here as they design the quarterback run, and they get the lead block, and then driven back that time was Miller by Ethan Armstrong. And one of the big concerns is how many hits Braxton Miller has been taking this year.
Well, I mean, if you look at him as a running back, you say that's part of what a running back is. And if you look at him as a quarterback, you're saying he's taken a lot of hits.
Of course, we all remember what happened in that game against Purdue. And he was taken out, hit the ground hard in the 3rd quarter there, whipped down, and his head and shoulder crashing to the turf. 2nd and 7. Play action now, and out of the backfield is Vanna. And he tried to fight his way towards the sticks, but comes up about 2 yards shy as he was tackled by Johnson. So 3rd and 2.
See if they're going to stack the box here. You got 4 down. They went quick. Yeah.
And they go on the screen, and Devin Smith easily picks up the first down. Devin Smith, the defensive back, coming up with the tackle there. And Miller slides down at the 30-yard line on a late hit as David Gilbert Horse tackle there.
Gilbert's shown some.
And then you had Southward coming up and meeting Miller.
Following the play. Late hit, number 12. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And Gilbert from behind, and then Southward coming right up.
Gilbert's played pretty well here through this first half. You're going to watch him redirect and make this play. Run him down, good angle, nice tackle. Southward, they're going to call out helmet to helmet every time. It's questionable on the late side, but helmet to helmet, they're going to do it.
Well, it makes it a first down at the 15-yard line. High snap, and here's Hyde straight up the middle and into the end zone for a touchdown. 15-yard touchdown run by Carlos Hyde, his 14th of the year. Two-score lead early for the Buckeyes. Carlos Hyde had 3 touchdowns last time out against the Illini. Off to a strong start today. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Quint Kesnick here in Madison as we look at our Pacific Life game summary. Ohio State offense, good effort so far. Special teams the reason why we have a 2-score advantage for the Buckeyes. Corey Brown, the 68-yard punt return for a touchdown, and then moments ago Carlos Hyde, the 15-yard rushing touchdown. 35th rushing touchdown of the season for Ohio State. Between Hyde and Miller, they're doing it every which way. This is Doe from the 1-yard line. And when he cut back, that was the mistake, taken down at the 18. Let's go back to the good blocking by the Buckeyes on that last score.
Well, you're talking about Carlos Hyde, but Hireman right here at number 86 does a nice job. And then on the backside, I want you to also watch number 77. That's Fraggle. And then inside me right here, that is a great job. Stay on the block and now clear it. Really well done. That offensive line, assignment right, and then they just powered through it. And Carlos Hyde's in the end zone for 6.
Now the question becomes, is Wisconsin built for this? Built for matching points with Ohio State. 14-point deficit with Curtin Phillips in there at quarterback. And tackled at the 24-yard line was Monte Ball.
Now this Ohio State defense test, this is where they wanted to put this Wisconsin offense. They want to try to get Monte Ball out of this thing. Now 14 points, you're still okay, but you get a couple more points on the board, you're going to throw the whole thing completely on the shoulders of Kurt Phillips, and they did not want to be able to be in that position.
2nd and 4. Ball straight ahead. And should have enough for the first down. Tackled by Zach Boren.
Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator for this Wisconsin team, is going to have to show some patience right here. And they're going to have to continue to pound the ball, do what they do. This is a big, right here, this series is a big series for them. They've got to get points here.
His first year here, Matt Canada. Remember, Paul Chris took the job at Pitt. Matt came over from Northern Illinois, had great success there in the MAC.
They also need to get this crowd back into the game, because right now they're sitting on their hands.
Monte Ball, nice hold, good spin move, and out to the 41-yard line, and another first down. 12-yard run by Ball.
Monte Ball's got a couple of things that he just does exceptionally well. He's got good vision, but Joe, he's very, very patient in the hole. And then when he sees it, that's when he accelerates, and he accelerates into things extremely well.
Warren Grant tried to take a shot at him, but he was able to spin free. Here's Ball again, and look at him go past midfield. And he's carrying this Badgers offense now. Another first down for Wisconsin.
Yeah, just nice vision. And you see the patience, just that little bit. He just lets the block occur, and then boom, he bursts right through it. That's what he does extremely well.
Already 85 yards here in this first half for Monte Ball.
That time, that Ohio State defense, they dropped another defender down. That was into an 8-man front.
And now his roommate comes in as the ISO back, James White. Melvin Gordon on the fly. Here's White in the middle. And White with a gain of 3.5 yards before he was tackled by Bradley Roby. Of course, the records that Monte Ball chasing today, could he do it? Could he become the NCAA's leader in career touchdowns? He comes into the day with 77, 1 to tie, 2 to break. Travis Prentice from Miami of Ohio set that mark back in the late 90s.
He's a workhorse. One of the other things that you really love about Monte Ball is he gets better as the game goes on. He gets stronger.
Phillips to pass now on 2nd and 6. Downfield, wide open, and gets it complete. And that is his tight end, Jacob Pedersen.
Pedersen, that's right there, number 48. They just do a good job. Now he's clearing. That takes a long time to get there. So that tells you that there's good pass protection. And because Phillips has that time, he's able to make that throw before he's hit by Goebel.
James White now on the direct snap as they go with this heavy jumbo look, and White surges ahead to the 7-yard line, tackled by Zach Boren.
As we said, this was a key series right here for this Wisconsin offense, and now it's got to be punctuated with 6. They cannot get 3. Now for the Ohio State Buckeyes, they've got to be able to hold them to a field goal attempt here.
And remember, this crowd so well aware of the history that could be made today. So with that ball inside the 10, they're thinking about the record-setting moment for Monte Ball to tie the career record for the most touchdowns in college football history. Here's 2nd and 6. And here is Monte Ball. Can he get there? Yes!
What makes that even more impressive, Ohio State knows they're running the ball here, Tess. They commit 8 to that front, and Ball, there's no way he was staying out of the end zone.
So the first one is on the board for Monte Ball. Ties the NCAA career record for touchdowns as Bucky brings the flag up. That says number 17 of the year, but number 78 in a great career.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by the new 2013 Ford F-150 with EcoBoost. Go to Ford.com/Ultimate Combo for a chance to win the best combo out there. Best Buy and Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss.
The Madison Area Jugglers, University of Wisconsin student organization. It started back in 1991. Home to the world champs in club passing. And Wisconsin is now home to the man who has 78 career touchdowns as Bucky Badger planted flag number 17 on the year. That's the rushing touchdowns for Monte Ball as he ties Travis Prentice. Next touchdown scored, and he has the record by himself. Live ball there inside the 15, and that's where it goes out of bounds. Jeff Hireman unable to control that kickoff.
Well, Monte Ball got a little help from his friend, and what you're going to see is the whole right side. You got Haverstein here, you got Castigan here, you got Frederick in here, you got Pedersen 48, and the other tight end in front of him. Just look at that. That's just pure power. And then when he got to the 3-yard line, Tess, he just went vertical. Watch this. He just jumped right over him. That's just a phenomenal effort.
He goes airborne, and then one more stride. And his mom, Melissa, so emotional today, and a moment to celebrate. And we'll see if she has the big moment to celebrate a little later on. Braxton Miller, as that was deflected by Pat Muldoon.
Almost looked like they jumped and got into the neutral zone, but apparently they didn't. The official was right on top of it. It sets up this second down.
Braxton, as they contain him well that time, right at the original line of scrimmage. Here's Robert Flores.
All right, Joe, Dr. Pepper conference update from the SEC. Ole Miss's Bo Wallace has run for a touchdown and thrown for one as well. This one, Dante Moncrief. And right now, Ole Miss is leading number 7 LSU 14-10 at Death Valley.
Thanks, Robert. 3rd and 10. Camp Randall getting loud. Miller steps up, being pursued, bumped into his own man Hyde there, but extends the play. Now being chased back to his own end zone. Ball comes loose as he's pushed out of bounds. The Wisconsin defense never gave up. That was Brendan Kelly, who was tracking down Braxton Miller every step of the way.
Now, keep in mind, Braxton Miller can find no one open down the field because the coverage is exactly where it needs to be. And then the pursuit, it never quits. Gilbert almost has a chance right there, but then they just force him out of bounds and create this 4th and long.
So now Ben Buchanan just about a yard from the back of that end zone on to punt, and Jared Abradaris is at the 50-yard line. And it's a decent punt by Buchanan. Here's Abradaris now. And he is taken down at about the 45 by Orion Johnson, who's played well on special teams today. So Monte Ball and the Badgers offense back out there with a bit of momentum when we return to Madison. Matt, we got 2 of the better teams in the NFC on ESPN's Monday Night Football. The Bears head to San Francisco to take on the Niners. Monday Night Football at 8:30 Eastern. Coverage begins 6:30 with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's. Jay Cutler out. Jason Campbell playing quarterback.
Jason Campbell will be going against that tough San Francisco defense led by Justin Smith, probably the best defensive end in football in terms of power, and then the best 2 linebackers in all the National Football League, Navarro Bowman and, of course, number 52, perennial All-Pro.
Here's Phillips now on 1st down, and he throws it incomplete. Big story for Wisconsin is that man, Monte Ball. 17 rushing touchdowns on the year, now 78 in his career.
Tessie's got 92 yards so far in this game, and they need to ride him. They need to do exactly what they did this last series. Ohio State knew they were going to run the football, and it didn't matter. Monte Ball just took it right at them. They need to continue to do that.
All this time, only able to get about 2.5 yards as he was met by Zach Bourne. Bourne's a guy who was playing offense as of 5 weeks ago. They moved him over from fullback to linebacker.
He's a good, tough kid. He has good patience. You'd like to see him read things a little bit better, but heck, he was just like you said, he was a fullback just like 20 minutes ago.
dad was a linebacker at Michigan, #3 all-time tackler there when he left. 3rd and 7 now. Kurt Phillips to pass here on 3rd and 7. Pressure came. Ball came loose, and they're going to rule it an incomplete pass. And that was Tommy Shutt and then the aforementioned Zach Boren coming in there against Kurt Phillips.
Well, he was trying to get one-on-one on the outside with Aberderis, and the coverage was all over it. They matched up again, man-to-man, and Wisconsin doesn't really have anybody who can separate. And when that happens, Shutt just shut the door on Phillips.
Drew Meyer back on to punt. Chris Field secures it there. So the Buckeyes back on offense, up 14-7 when we return. Alongside Matt Millen, Quint Kesnick, I'm Joe Tessitore, and here's your Aflac trivia question. Other than Ohio State and Michigan, we're looking for the Big Ten team, the last Big Ten team to finish the season with an undefeated record. Of course, this year's Buckeyes now sitting at 10-0. Urban says we're a very good team. We're not great. Says it's not a team with all the answers, but they are unbeaten. Carlos Hyde brings it close to the 20-yard line. Says we know how we've won. We know who we are right now. And we're pretty fortunate to be where we are.
And he knows what he is, and he knows, though, that he's gotten better as the season's gone on. Some guys have developed. He'll need more, though.
That's Jeff Tyerman, 6'5" tight end, who needed that height to go up and get that throw from Braxton Miller.
Sets up this 3rd down. Wisconsin has been solid on 3rd down. This will be in the hands of Braxton Miller.
Carlos Hyde, he was stacked up.
He didn't get it.
Big Bo Allen and Brendan Kelly, and Allen is 6'3", 335, and not a biscuit under it.
Yeah, well, Big Bo Allen, number 96 on the inside. He just stacks it up inside and forces it to go back inside. Kelly does a nice job. They're going to set up this 4th down, and that's just good defense. There's big old Bo Allen, all 340 pounds of him, and I love that guy. It's a big man.
And as Buchanan punts away, that is 2 straight 3-and-outs for Ohio State. So we asked you, we got an undefeated Ohio State team in front of us. Other than Ohio State and Michigan, the last Big Ten team to finish the season with an undefeated record.
That was easy.
For you it is.
Yeah, that was Penn State in '94. That was the 4th time, I believe, at Penn State in '68, '69, I think it's '73, and then '94 undefeated. Although not in the Big Ten, obviously, in those earlier years.
And now Urban Meyer has the Buckeyes at 10-0, 6-0 in the conference. 6 times in 11 years as a head coach, Urban has 10 wins or more. And Monte Ball wrapped up by Etienne Sabino, number 6 for Ohio State, who's back after missing the last 4 games with a leg injury.
Well, we got a Wisconsin Badger down. Oh, that's Havestein.
Rob Havestein, who came into this program at 380 pounds, 6'8", 342 sophomore now listed. The least experienced of the offensive linemen. Of course, they've had such consistency with producing NFL-ready offensive linemen in recent years here. And Havenstein has been holding down that right tackle position. That's a good sign right there as he gets up under his own power as the medical staff is training the sophomore. 6'8", 342 holding down that right side.
And he's gotten better as the season's gone on. He still plays a little bit too high. He's 6'8". He does bend pretty well.
Replaced by number 64, Robert Burge, as that group looks to pave the way for Monte Ball, who already has 15 carries for 97 yards and that touchdown that tied the NCAA record for career touchdowns. 2nd down and 8. end around Aberderis. Blockers in front as Aberderis has the first down to the 49-yard line. C.J. Barnett, who left the game earlier, back in making the tackle.
Aberderis is the one receiver that Wisconsin has that they rely on a lot, and they do a lot of different things with him. You saw him right there on the end around, but he needs somebody else to complement him because they don't have that other receiver. They don't really have speed down the field. It forces them to be able to, you know, to not be able to expand the field when they play, and that actually hurts Aberderis.
Monte met at the line and driven back by John Simon. It was Bourne the first to get to him, then Simon cleaned it up.
One thing that all these Wisconsin receivers do a pretty darn good job of is they do a nice job of blocking down the field, and that's a lot of the success that Monte Ball's had, because once he does get to that second level, his receivers do a nice job of getting on the DBs.
Second and 8. And Phillips, not much there. Flag comes in late in the defensive backfield.
There's another one. Oh, he just moved it up.
Urban looking for an explanation here.
Illegal low block. Number 89, offense. Cut back to the inside. 15-yard. Repeat, second down.
Remember, that's a point of emphasis this year, the blocking below the waist. Now mostly prohibited with very few exceptions in college football.
Yeah, you're going to see it right here. They want you to stay high on it. It's Chase Hammond, number 89.
Of course, linemen and backs allowed. For linemen, you have to be within 7 yards of the snapper to block low. Backs can do it within the tackle box, but out there in space, they don't go for it. Second and 21. Monte Ball. And Ball gets it out to the 49-yard line. There's Barnett again with the tackle.
He sets it up to third and manageable. At least he's at about third and 11-ish. They can protect. Now, the one guy they're going to have to try to get the ball to is Aberderis. And Ohio State obviously knows that. And they've been matching him up man-to-man on the outside. So conventional wisdom would be if you have that, then you want to go to some tight, maybe bunch packages or stuff test, and maybe work some rubs or picks. They're not going to do that.
Aberderis to the top of your screen as they keep it on the ground on 3rd and 11, and the lateral pursuit is eventually getting to Ball, as it was C.J. Barnett and Noah Spence keeping after it.
Yeah, Ohio State may want to use a timeout here, but it doesn't look like they're going to. That'll get down to the, now Wisconsin should let this thing use the whole clock, take it down to the 30-second mark. Which
clock counting down here, final minute of the first half. Chris Fields on to return for Ohio State.
It's smart by Wisconsin.
2 timeouts remaining for the Buckeyes. Let's check in with Robert Flores back in the studio. Robert, what do you have for us?
Well, Joe, I got a Sports Center right now update that's brought to you by HP. Notre Dame, number 3 in the BCS standings. No problem with Wake Forest. They're leading 28-0 second quarter at home. Everett Golson to John Goodman on the touchdown catch. Meantime, Oklahoma State is opening up a can against Texas Tech. J.W. Wall, second touchdown of the half. 35-7 Cowboys.
Notre Dame having no issue dismissing Wake Forest. Just over half a minute here. Ohio State up a touchdown. And Braxton Miller And Miller with 9 yards there as the clock counts down.
So they're just going to let this one go, and that'll be it for the half.
Punt return the difference. Let's check in with Quint.
Coach, you seem like you were eager to get in the locker room with the league. Is that accurate?
Well, a little bit of breeze down here, and we're playing a good defense, and we've been backed up the last 3 drives, so we have to get better field position.
What happened on Corey Brown's punt return for a touchdown?
Just excellent execution. Corey hit it right, but our guys, it was a line drive punt, a little bit into the wind as well. Our guys did a great job holding their men up.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, they traded rushing touchdowns, but Brown's 68-yarder the difference on the scoreboard. 14-7 undefeated Ohio State. Coming up, stay tuned for a complete halftime report right after these messages. Tessitore, Matt Millen, and Quint Kesnick with you here in Madison, Wisconsin. Undefeated Ohio State leading the Badgers 14-7. You see the first half stats. The rushing yards for Wisconsin. Ball, his 23rd 100-yard game, 7th this season. But one of the big stories, Matt, is the Wisconsin defense without their starting middle linebacker, and they did a decent job against the Buckeyes in that first half.
I thought they did a really nice job. Remember earlier in the game, Braxton Miller had a couple of runs, and then I think they made a couple of adjustments. And one of the things they wanted to do is not let him get out to the edge. Early, you saw this, and he was able to do this. And then I think this is one of the things they did. They looked like they're spying him a little bit with the middle backer. But the biggest thing is watching the safeties come down, avoid getting blocked outside by the receivers. They're more aggressive to the line of scrimmage. Now, let's see in the second half if Ohio State doesn't take advantage of that with maybe a little bit of play action or run action and try to hit something down the field.
Yeah, Miller only 78 yards passing, 36 rushing. And for Monte Ball, could this be the game where he breaks the record, the FBS record for career touchdowns? Tied it in the first half. Now sitting at 78 with Travis Prentice from Miami of Ohio back in the 90s. This crowd would love to see it happen here on Senior Day. Final home game in the career of the stellar running back. Bradley Roby. And he is tripped up at the 14-yard line by Shelton Johnson. Our Pacific Life game summary. Punt return by Brown, 68-yarder, as Drew Myers' line drive was easily returned. And then Monte Ball, look at this extra effort as he was set to tie the record with his 78th career touchdown. 17 rushing touchdowns on the season for the Heisman finalist from a year ago. Braxton Miller keeps it, and Miller fights for about 4 yards that time. Mike Taylor on the tackle.
And they keep running to the inside, but I think one guy who's played pretty well here through this first half has been Gilbert, number 11. He has been able to hold the edge for their defense. They've not been able to get outside. He's been able to have a couple plays in the backfield also on Braxton Miller.
He's their best pure pass rusher. Broke his foot a year ago, missed most of the season. Back healthy and productive this year. 2nd and 5. Miller quickly slings it out to Devin Smith. And Smith has the first down, still driving ahead, close to the 30-yard line, where he's tackled by Johnson and Cromartie. Ohio State, one of only 4 remaining unbeatens in college football. Miller That time, nowhere to go. It'll go for a loss.
Wisconsin defense, in the middle of the defense, they have not given much at all. And they've pretty much stayed, and they've not gotten pushed. And part of that is Big Bo Allen on the inside of that defense.
Been playing so well this year. There he is, 335-pounder, trying to clog up the middle against Ohio State. 2nd and 12. Miller. And he is forced out by Devin Smith, the cornerback. We got Devin Smiths on both sides here.
Well, you mentioned it, Devin Smith, the defender. See, he sees him right there now. Nicely done. Uses the sideline as his extra defender, gives him one way to go, and sets up this big 3rd down.
So a 3rd and 16. Over 80,000 here at Camp Randall. They walk up to the line defensively. They bring 4 against Miller. And he intended it for Carlos Hyde, but it goes incomplete. So the defense did their job. Good coverage by the Badgers.
Yeah, down the field. Braxton Miller's looking off to his left. And they're going to zone the thing off. And then he comes back to the right side. And nice job of taking away the deep threat to the right side. Everybody where they're supposed to be. And because of the coverage down the field, Miller has nowhere to go. And it sets up this punt.
Big boot fielded by Abderderis at the 35. So will we have history here in this 2nd half? The total touchdown mark for an FBS career, the major level of college football. Earlier, Monte Ball with that effort inside the 10-yard line, diving ahead and surging across the goal line to tie Travis Prentice from Miami of Ohio with 78 career touchdowns. And keep in mind the offseason that Ball had. Slow start to the year. Remember, he was the victim of an assault, left him with a concussion preseason. Only had 3 touchdowns in their first 4 games. He was quoted as saying, with everything that happened to me coming out of the gates really slow, I thought it was out of reach. But he says he decided to fight, stick with it. He gets the first carry of the 2nd half. Gives us a chance. The ball may have come loose there. They roll it down. You saw the defensive players reacting. Let's check in with Quint.
Joe Test, the news out of the Wisconsin locker room is that right tackle Rob Havenstein is done for the day. He'll be replaced by Robert Burge. Spoke to Brett Bielema, and he basically gave me a pep talk. I said, Coach, what'd you focus on? He says, this is what we train for 365 days of the year. We feel our team gets better as the season goes on. We feel our team gets better as the game goes on. So they're really critical now in the 3rd and 4th quarter. When they take shots, they have to connect. I think it was a little frustrated a couple times in that first half. When they did take shots, they were off.
Thanks, Quint. Brett Bielema 10-0 at home in November here at Wisconsin. 2nd and 9. And this time James White.
Test, this is what they didn't want to get in. They've not been good on 1st down. Only 1 of 7 in the 1st half. 3rd and long is not what they're good at. And they keep in mind, Abderderis is about it in the passing game right now. They really don't have much of a threat. And so a few times they've been caught in the long yardage situations, and they've tried to hand it off. Let's see what they can get done here.
And of course, an unproven quarterback in Kurt Phillips. His first start last week since high school. 4 completions on the day. 3rd and 8. Phillips pressured, looking for answers, finding nothing. John Simon again.
That is inexperience by the quarterback right there. He did not have to leave at all. The pocket was secure. He got outside the pocket. Watch this. There's nothing here. There's no threat. He leaves the pocket, and Simon tracks him down for his 2nd sack of the night. Now,
instead of stepping up, he leaked, and Simon was there to find him.
Yeah, it's good. That's a great motor on John Simon, and that's exactly what he is. If you make a mistake, he'll make you pay for it.
Drew Meyer. Remember, he had that low line drive that Brown returned with ease. And here's another punt like that. Let's see what Brown does here. Nothing this time. Good coverage downfield by Wisconsin. Ohio State up a touchdown early here in the second half. Here's the perfect opportunity for the Watch ESPN app. Tonight, you got Oregon Stanford on ABC. Then you use the app on your laptop, your tablet. You go with a little #1 K-State. We're doing that tonight.
Right.
I'm firing up the iPad. We're doing Watch ESPN while we're taking in Oregon and Stanford, and then, order up some food.
What do we have to eat? That's the key.
Walleye. Walleye's on the menu tonight. As Hyde takes it ahead. Past the 40. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Quint Kesnick here in Madison. 14-7 Ohio State trying to remain unbeaten. The win gives them the leaders division outright, and they will be recognized as the champs. They'll get the trophy even though they're ineligible for postseason play because of the NCAA sanctions. That's very important to them. Close out this season to find themselves that way. And Hyde looks like he's right at the line to make. Tackled by Devin Smith.
It's kind of a quiet night at this point. Carlos Hyde's got about 45 yards right here. I think he's one of those guys, though, the more you give him, the better he gets. I think he's kind of one of those workhorse guys. And I believe that this guy here is the key, obviously.
Braxton Miller, who gets it complete to Corey Brown. And a difference maker in special teams today. He was covered by Smith. Here's Miller now. Cuts it to the inside and gets the first down. Braxton Miller. Remember, he arrived on campus with Pryor, was one of the biggest names in the game at the time, and now he's the star of this program.
Well, and he is exactly what Urban Meyer is looking for this offense. This is a quarterback-centric offense. This is a run-based offense, and that guy, whoever it is, he's got to be able to beat you with his legs. Braxton Miller can do that.
Urban Meyer has such confidence in him in his first press conference. He went so far to mention how happy he was to have Braxton Miller coming here to take over this program. Miller's going to launch it downfield. To the end zone he goes, and that is incomplete as he was looking for a streaking Evan Spencer. The coverage came from Darius Hillary.
Hillary was on top of it. The one thing Hillary does a great job of is he stays on top of the coverage. He doesn't let anybody get beyond him. And so he just tracks this thing, has a chance at making a pick, but he drops it. That would have been a big time thing. Now here's another thing that has gotten better is Braxton Miller with his mechanics. In the bye week, he worked on that with his footwork. And he needs to continue to work on it. He's got a nice arm, but when his mechanics get whacked out, his ball takes off on him.
2nd and 10. Hyde met at the line of scrimmage and then wrapped up and thrown back by Big Bo Allen.
Big Bo Allen. Big Bo, number 96, 340 pounds. You heard me talk about him earlier. He's got what I like to call cankles. Look at that lower body. That's a big man. But he goes from calf right to shoe. There's nothing in between. It's just one big.
Just the express lane of humanity right down to that foot. 3rd down and 9. Defensive front walks up. Let's see if they get after Braxton Miller here on 3rd and 9. Miller extending the play, scrambling at midfield, and then he just has to throw it away. Good coverage downfield and good pursuit from Brendan Kelly. And once again, that defense able to contain him.
Outstanding coverage. Nowhere to go with the football down the field. These defensive backs plaster the receivers, stay on top of them, and then Miller, he's got to run around and just throw that thing away.
Harris with the fair catch at around the 15. 13th punt of the game combined. 14-7 it stays.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by Nissan. Innovation for today. Innovation for tomorrow. Innovation that excites. And Canon.
Millen, you must have been brutal back in the day playing dodgeball. The Wisconsin Alumni Student Board's annual Dodge for a Cause coming up in December. All the proceeds from the tourney go to local national charity organizations. I can only imagine.
Dodgeball was fun.
Oh, for you it was fun. For the other side, it wasn't so fun.
I had a fifth grade gym teacher, Mr. Taylor. He threw me out of gym class because I was rifling so many balls at kids. He just booted me. I'll get him back one day, Mr. I don't know where he's at, but I'll find him.
Dents in the wall of that gym back in Eastern Pennsylvania. So Wisconsin, James White able to get to the edge there, and he goes for 9 yards, tackled by C.J. Barnett.
Tess, I think right now is the time that they got to get Monte Ball engaged back here, and they've got to get some success in this running game. That's what they did in the first half. When they got the score, it brought the crowd back in. The crowd again is sitting on their hands. They're waiting for something to happen. This is time for Monte Ball.
Day that they've been waiting for a chance to make history. It was initially met, and then that extra surge gets him out to the 30-yard line, as it was Ryan Shazer who first came up.
Now watch him just run through. That's a great job by running behind his pads and not quitting, getting strong. Ooh, that's nice. Shazer didn't wrap. Monte Ball kept behind his pads and kept on going forward. He's an impressive kid.
Remember the offseason, the victim of a violent assault this summer suffered a concussion as a result. The year started a little slow. Offensive line wasn't in gear. They fired their O-line coach. And now they go with the fullback, Derek Watt, redshirt freshman, JJ's brother. This is a young man who was playing linebacker back in the fall and switched to offense. He's been leading the way for the senior Monte Ball. Last year, Ball tied Barry Sanders' NCAA record, 39 touchdowns in a single season. But this year, so many challenges to just get back to this point. All the Heisman hype coming in, and now on the edge of potentially making history today. One more touchdown, and the FBS record will be his. 2nd and 7. This time, the Shays are able to meet him.
Shazer right in the middle of that thing on Monte Ball. And Monte Ball, when you watch him, there's some things that he does extremely well. He finishes his runs. You saw that when he was hitting the hole, how he finished, got behind it. He gets better as the game goes on. I believe he gets stronger. He doesn't have a lot of make you miss, not a lot of Barry Sanders stuff in him. He can slip blocks and stuff. He's smart with how he runs behind his pads. But I think this guy is better than people give him credit for. And I think they give him pretty good credit. But I just think Monte Ball is a guy, the more you watch him, the more you're around him, you see just how really good he is.
3rd and 5. And they're able to move the chains. They get it complete. Ball came loose at the end there.
He's down.
And they're saying that he was down, as Jacob Pedersen with the reception there and a first down. That was Boren and Bryant coming in at the end. Let's watch here.
That's a nice job, Pedersen, as he came back to the ball. Again, nice time to be able to throw. And the ball comes out. You're going to see he's down when the ball comes down.
It's close there. Very, very close. The ruling on the field is that he was down. But as you see Christian Bryant coming in there, and when he makes contact, number 2, the ball did come loose. Watch his knee and see if you can see if he's down here.
That angle you can't see. It looked like his calf may have been down, but I can't tell if the ball had started coming out prior to that.
Boren wraps him up, and remember, they need that indisputable video evidence, and because the ruling on the field is that it was a catch and then Pedersen was down.
See right there. See, it looked like...
Now, what you notice here, it looks like Boren's arm is underneath Pedersen.
Yeah.
Remember, Wisconsin turnovers have not been an issue this year. They've been playing turnover-free football for the last 15 quarters. And watch that left knee, or is Bourne's arm underneath the body there?
That looks like it might be out. So you can't see that. Ball's coming out right there. Looks like there maybe the calf wasn't down.
From that angle, and I think that's the angle that'll give Tom Herbert the best view. He's the replay official in the Big Ten, and I think Tom's got a really good look at what our folks provided him with there. See if he reverses it.
Following the video review, the play stands as called. Runner down, first down Wisconsin.
So the play stands, and what that means, remember, they can reverse it, confirm it, or it can stand, that there was not the indisputable evidence to reverse the call. They say that the ankle and that part of the leg did make contact, and he was down, so Wisconsin keeps the ball.
I'll tell you, if that was Bo Allen, it would have been a lot easier to see.
You see that?
You see that lower part of his calf
part there
was down.
So a first down for the Badgers. Monte Ball, the lone back. Ball able to get that corner and pass midfield before he's run out by Nathan Williams.
You know, Monte Ball appears to be lighter than he was even a year ago. A year ago, we sat down and talked to him and said he dropped a bunch of weight because he thought he was too heavy. And then this year, it looks like he dropped a little bit more, and you can see it in his quickness and his speed.
Jonathan Hankins is down for Ohio State. Their 322-pound defensive tackle gives us a chance to check in with the studio and Robert Flores. Robert?
All right, Joe, here's what's happening on SportsCenter right now. Louisiana Tech trailing Utah State. Colby Cameron picked off in the end zone, and that is the first time he's been picked off at 444 pass attempts, a streak that dates back to all of last season. That's what's happening on SportsCenter right now, brought to you by HP.
You know, it's interesting to talk about Louisiana Tech because where they are now in the BCS standings, there's a potential for us having a BCS buster this year, but they're struggling today. 2nd and 4, Phillips. And Phillips goes down again. That is the 3rd sack of the day for Ohio State, and it was John Simon who's having a big day.
That's his 3rd sack and their 3rd sack, and also the 3rd time that there was excellent coverage, man coverage down the field. Phillips has nowhere to go with it, and Simon eats him up.
Urban Meyer refers to Simon as being almost Tebow-ish in terms of his commitment and leadership, the heart and soul of this team. Urban was quick to note that when he took over, the role that Simon plays with the Buckeyes. 3rd and 9 now. And that is complete for a first down to Jordan Frederick.
That time, Phillips, again, he had the time in the pocket, and instead of bailing, he steps up. And because of that step up, he is able to get this completion. Receiver comes back to the ball. And that's well done.
$14 yards on 3rd and 9. See a chunk of the jersey missing right from that 0 and the 10 of Kurt Phillips. Perhaps Simon took a chunk of it with him on that last sack. Play action now on 1st down, and he gets it complete, but for no gain to Pedersen.
But that's better by Phillips. I mean, he's aware of it right there, and the ball comes out quick, and that's what he needs to do. Nathan Williams, number 43, was right there on top of the coverage. But see, right now, if you're Ohio State, if you're going to play tight man, you want to play a little tighter man coverage to make Phillips have to throw into smaller windows. And then I'd bring a little bit of pressure. We really haven't seen much pressure out of this Ohio State team on Phillips.
Old school look there, Phillips. November kind of football where you're missing pieces of your jersey. Here's Monte Ball now as he makes the most of that to the 34-yard line, tackled by Barnett.
Now right here, to me, this is 4th down stuff. You can start thinking about a 4th down call if you have to. Remember last time he was here,
down to 30-yard line.
Half, yeah, and they did not do that. They opted to punt, and it was a net of about 10 yards.
Clock counting down here. 2.5 minutes remaining in the 3rd. One team knows they're headed to the title game. The other team trying to remain undefeated. 3rd and 5. Blockers in front by Ball, but so is the pursuit of Ohio State as they swarmed him. It was led by Zach Boren and C.J. Barnett.
And nicely job. That's a great job, team defense, in getting to the edge and then setting that edge on the outside. This time looks like they're going to go for it on 4th down. That'll get the crowd into it a little bit.
So Phillips stays in, looks over to Brett Bielema. Camp Randall looking for a big play here on 4th and 4. The 5th-year senior quarterback who started last week. First start he had since high school. Now in a big spot against the Buckeyes. 4th and 4. Phillips with time throws it to the near side and complete for a first down to Kenzel Doe.
Ohio State sits in a zone that time. They sit in a zone and no pressure. Nice job by this offensive line of giving Phillips time to be able to throw. Watch Doe on the outside. Just they run it off and he dumps underneath. It's great awareness of where the first down is and gets it.
They go Wildcat here with James White. And Monte Ball as a lead blocker as White gets it to the 21-yard line, tackled by Shazier.
Shazier is having a really good game. He's very active here today. But you're right, Monte Ball, he threw himself in there like a big old fullback.
Given everything he has today. Ball with 134 yards and a touchdown that tied the FBS career record. The next one will break it. You know how they'd love to get that with a tie game here against the unbeaten Buckeyes. Trailing by 7 as it stands. 2nd and 6, and he was met in the backfield by Jonathan Hankins.
Big bang Hank right there. 320 pounds. Now that guy at the next level, he will be a nose tackle.
Well, he's considered one of the top NFL prospects. Todd McShay has him in the top 5 on the defensive line.
I would like to see him have a little bit more movement. He doesn't move. He can. You just don't see it all the time. But at the next level in the interior, either a right on the nose or a shade off the nose, he'll be playing on Sunday.
3rd and 9. Will they get one last play in here in this quarter? And Ball, no gain there, tackled by Shazier,
who came on a blitz.
4th down, 4th quarter, trailing by 7 when we return. Number 1 team in the country in action tonight. Kansas State against Baylor on college football primetime. Presented by Hampton Hotels tonight, 8 Eastern on ESPN. You can also watch it on Watch ESPN. We will see if the number 1 team gets a test. That Baylor defense, they give up big chunks of yards, but you know they can score. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Quint Kesnick here in Madison. Start of the 4th quarter. Kyle French, he's made his last 5 field goals. This attempt from 40s. Brett Bielema looking to cap a 15-play drive and cut into Urban Meyer and Ohio State's lead. And that never had a chance.
Good snap, nice hold. Shankadelic, not very good.
So Urban's offense right back out there. That was the longest drive of the season in terms of plays, a 15-play drive, and they come up empty. Now that defense will need to step up here at home on senior day against the unbeaten Buckeyes. Braxton Miller is met right away that time by Desmond Southward.
Southwark, you know, we showed you the adjustments early. Southwark, you're going to watch the safety. He's just going to come out of the secondary, and he's going to drop down fast. Secure the edge out here, and then this is called the lane. You got to run the lane.
2nd and 11. Miller today only 97 yards passing. Carlos Hyde, and Hyde breaks free for a first down as he took Ethan Armstrong for a ride. Look at how excited he is. 18-yard run.
Yeah, and part of this with Carlos Hyde's success on the inside is because of what they're doing with Braxton Miller on the outside. It forces you to set the edge, guys start to flow, and then Carlos Hyde punches you inside.
Hyde this time able to get 3 yards on the inside, tackled by Armstrong again.
I like Hyde. I think Hyde's a strong runner. I think he's a good inside runner. The more you give him, I think the better he would do.
Hyde's been coming on strong as the year has gone on. 2nd and 6 here. Braxton sprints to the near side. Flag is down as he is forced out.
The one thing, Tess, I got to tell you all game long is this Wisconsin secondary has done a nice job in coverage. They've not given anything up. They've forced Braxton Miller to have to pull it down and take off a bunch today.
Holding. 79 offense. 10-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Remember, Chris Borland not in action today for Wisconsin, dealing with that hamstring injury. He's kind of that throwback linebacker, guy who just makes plays, gets to the ball for Wisconsin's defense, but unavailable to go today as he just looks on here in the 4th quarter.
He's got himself a hamstring, but he has what you can't coach. He's got excellent instincts.
2nd and 16. First penalty of the day for Ohio State. Miller with plenty of time, and now slings it downfield, and that was almost intercepted by Mike Taylor, and a flag comes in. It'll be a personal foul against Ohio State. And Urban's saying, get out of here.
Mike Taylor had a chance at it, but so did Ethan Armstrong. Was getting thrown to Michael Thomas.
Thomas is quick to get to the sideline.
Personal foul. 83 defense. 8-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Saw Urban saying, you get out of the game right now. Watch what number 83 does here.
When they're sitting at levels, he's trying to come back inside. See, there's a shot. He drops that, and then he just gives him his shoulder, and that's unnecessary. Unnecessary, and he gets flagged appropriately for it. Sets up 3rd and 31.
They need to get all the way out to midfield. And Hyde will be run down. And Wisconsin's going to get field position and an opportunity here, trailing by 7.
Keep in mind the difference in this game so far has been the punt return for a touchdown. Both teams, they've kind of slogged back and forth. One has 250 yards of offense in Wisconsin, the other one at about 210, so been about the same kind of offensive days.
Here's Abradaris. And he gets the fair catch at the 35. Wisconsin will start from there, down a touchdown when we come back. A champion's going to be crowned tomorrow. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup concludes. The Ford EcoBoost 400 at Homestead, Miami. Coverage begins with NASCAR Sprint Cup Countdown presented by Tire Rack, 1:30 Eastern on ESPN. Brad Keselowski, a 20-point lead over Jimmy Johnson. We'll see if he can hold off JJ and claim NASCAR's top prize. That is tomorrow. Here the prize, plenty in the Big Ten. Ohio State trying to remain unbeaten. Wisconsin. They've clinched a spot in the Big Ten title. They want more. They want to prove that they belong. Trailing by 7 here. As Monte Ball's wrapped up by Boren.
This Ohio State defense, they've kind of slowed Monte Ball down a tad here in the second half. It's going to, it's going to have to break this thing open for Wisconsin. This Phillips is going to have to make a play with his arm. He's going to have to make a play. And so far, this Ohio State defensive secondary is taking these receivers almost out of the game completely.
They go with Melvin Gordon. What a hit put on Melvin Gordon that time.
That was Shazer.
Shazer, who's slow to get up after he was the one that came up and met Gordon. And that was helmet to helmet. And Shazer greatly affected by the impact of that blow.
He has played a really, really good game here today. He's been all over the field. He's been reading things extremely well. And that was just a really abrupt stop.
So the medical staff quick to get to Shazer. We will take a break. Brian Shazier was taken off the field moments ago. 10 tackles, 2 for loss, a pass breakup on the day, and this big stick on Gordon that caused the injury.
Yeah, there was no hesitation. He had the outside secured to take the ball back inside. He had pursuit from the inside out. Shazier just ran right down the middle without hesitation. He's played extremely well here today. It looks like he's going to be fine.
3rd down and 9. Herb Phillips to pass on 3rd and 9. Phillips slings it downfield and gets it complete. He was close to the line of scrimmage, but he was able to connect with Jacob Pedersen. So that's a 1st down for Wisconsin. Did he go over that line of scrimmage? Watch that black line.
And remember, any part of his body is behind, it counts. And he's fine with it.
Plenty good.
Yeah, plenty good. And a great job of buying some time and the receiver coming back to the ball. They've had success when the receivers have come back because they really haven't separated down the field.
Phillips hasn't wowed you today, but he's been good enough when he's needed to be to extend drives, move the chains. And now they can always go back to this guy, Monte Ball. Good leg drive to the 46-yard line.
The Monte Ball is one of those guys, when you talk to different scouts about him, there are a couple of differing opinions. Some love him, and some think he's solid. I mean, a good player like a 2nd-round pick. And then there's other guys tested that go, no, you're not seeing the whole thing.
No matter how
he's a big timer.
No matter how he projects to the NFL, we know this. He's been a great college player who's put together an amazing story the past year of overcoming some adversity and now being on the doorstep of FBS history. 78 career touchdowns. The next one would break the all-time record. 2nd and 4. Unable to get much going there. Just a yard.
This Ohio State defense in the interior. No, Big Hankins is in downside there. Goebel's inside there, number 53. Of course, Simon's had himself 3 sacks, and he's played pretty well. You see Nathan Williams, 43. They've been pretty good up front there. Now, they've given up. Now, he's had, 140 yards rushing here tonight, but they've been kind of grudgingly giving that up, and they've been going to him often. Here's a big 3rd down right here.
3rd and 3. 4 of 13 on the day on 3rd down conversions. Phillips, he threw it low and to the inside of the intended target, Kenzel Doe. The coverage came from Travis Howard. So the punt team will trot on out there for Wisconsin.
And they gave him some pressure. They brought a blitz. He stayed inside. He just missed that throw. That throw was low. Doe had inside position. Better throw, and he'd had the first.
Chris Fields back to the 10-yard line. Drew Meyer on to punt. Directional kick. Back rotation on it. Takes a bounce at the 5. And it'll go for a touchback. 9:13 remaining. Ohio State trying to hold on here in Madison.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. AT&T. Rethink possible. And Cadillac, the standard of the world.
Millen, they don't waste any time here in Madison getting ready for the holidays. They're all set for the 19th annual Fantasy of Lights Festival. Did a nice visit here to Madison. They need a few more lights on that scoreboard to flick on. Braxton Miller being chased to the outside and unable to get to the edge that time as he was met by Desmond Southworth.
Desmond Southworth had a really nice game here tonight. Early on, I think they made an adjustment with their safeties to come down hard. Since that time, they've limited Braxton Miller in the run game. They've only given up 2 big plays of 15+ yards in the run game, and that's been it all night long. He's been a major reason why.
Guy only played a year of high school football, was a basketball player down there at St. Thomas Aquinas in South Florida. 2nd and 9. Corey Brown had that punt return in the first half. That's been the difference. They traded rushing touchdowns, and then the special teams effort of Brown, the 68-yarder, the big play of the game today.
So Tess, 3rd down is where they've been very good here in the second half. And the real key has been their secondary down the field. They've been able to cover with just 4 guys a lot of the times and played zone. They've not given up big throws, and then they've been able to get pressure on Braxton Miller.
See how they match up with this group of receivers. It includes Nick Vanett, a 6'6" target for Miller here. On 3rd down and 7, Wisconsin looking for a stop. Play clock down to 2. Here's Braxton Miller, comfortable in the pocket. Now the pressure gets to him. Good work that time by Tyler Dipple.
Tess, again, excellent job of coverage down the field. They're sitting back in his zone, taking away the underneath and not letting anybody get on top of them. You can see everybody where they have to be, and because of that, here's the net result on the front end, and they're able to do it with just 4 rushers. That's great team defense.
Ohio State, 4 possessions in the second half, 4 punts. Buchanan back out there. Abradaris, it's a short punt, and Abradaris scatters as it takes a Wisconsin bounce, and it is down on the plus side, the 46-yard line. Just a 29-yard punt. This is served up perfectly for Monte Ball and the Badgers. Let's see if they can deliver. Tomorrow night on ABC, your playlist goes live with performances by Taylor Swift, Linkin Park, Usher, and many more. Don't miss the 40th American Music Awards tomorrow night at 8/7 Central on ABC. The Ohio State offense has gone cold. The Wisconsin Badgers have a chance here. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Quint Kesnick with you. That's a good sign for Ohio State. You saw number 10, Ryan Shazier, back out there. That big hit moments ago sent him to the sideline. Monte Ball. Could he? As he is forced out, a big gainer down to the 21, and a block ahead from Jacob Pedersen led the way.
Monte Ball had Pedersen in front of him. Didn't quite know what to do with them. That's actually a very good job defensively, slowing that thing down and then forcing him to get out of bounds.
First down, Wisconsin at the 21. Coming up on the 6.5-minute mark. Trailing by a score. Ball thinking about the all-time touchdown record as they work him again. And he drives to the 18-yard line, tackled by Zach Boren.
Boren's been active also inside. Shazier, we've talked about how well he's done. They're trying to attack and get outside of that edge. They've had some success getting to the edge in Ohio State, but not much. You talked about Ohio State's offense going cold. This defense has warmed up as this game's gone on. Now is where they're going to have to be at their best.
The FBS career record for touchdowns. Right now he's tied with Travis Prentice from Miami of Ohio back in the late 90s. Looking to tie this game, looking to break the record. 2nd and 7, play action. Phillips downfield, Broken up at the last possible moment by Bradley Roby as he was trying to connect with Derek Watt, the fullback.
Watt needed to put the air brakes on right there. That catch has to be made, and Roby does a really nice job, but that should be 6. Yeah, Roby was beat to the corner there. That's a hard ball. You've got to pull that thing in.
Roby came in today leading the nation in passes defended with 18. That was a critical one. 3rd down and 7 now.
Big
Burt
down
Phillips,
for both sides.
Fifth-year senior quarterback. They hand off the ball on 3rd and 7. Waiting on blockers, fighting ahead, and he's going to be within a yard. Great effort by Monte Ball.
4th and 1. They're going to go for this. But this is just a great effort on both sides. And they're going to hurry up.
4th and 1. And it's Phillips instead of Ball who goes over the top.
Looks like he's got it.
There's 3 reconstructive knee surgeries. And all the waiting around for his chance. And now a 1st down at the 11-yard line, trying to tie this game against the undefeated Buckeyes. Ball remains the featured back with Watt in the I formation. Ederson in motion. Monte Ball can't break free of Zach Bourne that time.
That Bourne's getting a field down there now. He's looking like his old man as a backer. He's making lots of tackles. As this game has gone on, Zach Bourne's gotten a pretty good feel for what this offense is running. He's been reading things pretty darn well.
Second and 6. Looking for the tie and possibly the record for Ball. Here he goes. Can he get there? One cut, spins, and it'll be 3rd and short as Roby and Bourne came up to find Monte Ball.
Yeah,
as the family watches on. Dad Monte Sr., his mom Melissa, as they wait in anticipation. It'll be 3rd and 2.
Feed the big guy. Just feed him right here. You can feel electricity in the stadium, and that offensive line can feel it too. Let's see if Ohio State can stop this.
And we're going to get a timeout. Wisconsin.
Timeout. Wisconsin. First team timeout.
Tess, they've had success getting to the edge right here. Especially in these last 2 series, Monte Ball has been able to get to the edge and get some big positive yards. He hasn't been able to break them necessarily, but he's picked up these 1st downs. And here you're on the goal line on a nice 3rd down. You got to feed him.
I mean, Brett Bielema told us when we met with him, I'm not worried about the record. I'm worried about winning the game. But in a spot like this, he's also your best option as he's been taking you down the field.
You've got to use him in some fashion, whether you're going to feed him the ball or you're going to use him and play action off it, maybe to one of your tight ends in the back of the end zone. But listen, this is your great player. This is a guy who's got you here. This is a guy you want to finish it with.
FBS record, 78 career touchdowns. Right now he's tied. Game on the line. Record, they've reached the doorstep. Let's see if they can do it. They shift the formation out of that 9-man front and go to the eye for Monte Ball. 3rd and 2. Here's Ball. Pushing, driving. Does he have it? He's going to be short of the goal line. But he's going to be right at that stick. Zach Bourne came up to meet him. Watch this drive here.
That looks like a bad spot.
They're calling it 4th and inches, and Brett Bielema incredulous to the fact of that mark. as he's running down to talk to the near side linesman.
Was the runner was short of the first down and the goal line.
Remember, they can get a first down inside that one, just short of the goal line. You be the judge. That's Ball in the middle there, driving ahead as Watt had his arm on him.
Oh, it's definitely not a good spot. Okay, it should be a little further ahead. Where exactly it is, that's the tough thing. You can see Watt continue to fight, but Ball is falling forward the whole time. No stop, and a nice job by the offensive line to keep the thing going. He hits Watt right there. Now watch him get low again and continue to drive, and then here comes the boys to push from behind. I think that's a first down.
It appears from that replay. And here's another good angle. You see the knee right there, and you can see when the knee goes down that the arm with the ball in it is beyond the 1 yard line, possibly at the half-yard line as we take a look.
Yeah, that's a good shot by our camera crew. Right, oh, there it is, right there.
You see the knee, you see the 1 yard line, and in front of it where Matt just drew is where the ball is. So once again, the call on the field would make it a 4th and inches.
Following the video review, the play stands as called. 4th down.
So it'll be 4th down, as if this crowd needs more drama with what's on the line.
This is great. This is Big Ten football. This is what it's all about right here. Look, Monte Ball, he's an All-American. He wants to set the record. This offensive line has gotten better. Ohio State is undefeated on the strength of a few players, the majority of which are in that defensive front. Let's see who's the better group. This is great Big Ten football right here.
Coming up on 3 minutes in the game, Ohio State unbeaten. Monte Ball looking for the all-time record. 4th down, here it is. Ball came loose, it's a fumble, and it is recovered by Ohio State. Christian Bryant was in the right spot at the right time. The ball went right to him. Ryan Shazer forced the fumble, and the Ball family can't believe it.
And neither can their son, but a great job of Ohio State at the point. And that's Shazer. What a phenomenal play. Great read, throws himself in recklessly like he has been all night long. Hits the ball and the man, and it goes the other way.
He was trying to reach out and break that plane and tie this game and set the record. Instead, Shazier, who was knocked out of the game for a moment, comes in, and they are going to review this. And keep in mind, Monte Ball fumbling's never been an issue. Only the 2nd career fumble lost by Monte Ball.
Following the video review, the ruling of a fumble has been confirmed. 1st down, Ohio State.
Etienne Sabino, Ryan Shazier, and then Christian Bryant with the recovery. And oh, how cruel this game can be. All the adversity that Monte Ball has faced this year. The victim of a violent assault this summer. A slow start to the season. And he was on the doorstep, and it was slammed right in his face by the Ohio State defense, turning the ball over.
Ryan Shazier has played a monster game here tonight.
Carlos Hyde now looking to work the clock. The Buckeyes coming up on 2.5 minutes. Remember, one of the 4 remaining unbeaten teams in college football. They're looking to secure the leaders division outright. Timeout, Wisconsin, 2:38 to play. A look at our Pacific Life game summary. Had 4th quarter drama here at Madison. Ryan Shazier with the game-saving forced fumble as it stands now. Monte Ball with a big day, but a fumble at the goal line moments ago as now Ohio State looks to remain unbeaten if they can take care of the clock, facing a 2nd and 6. Wisconsin with a timeout left as they're able to get to Hyde. That was good effort by Dipple and Bo Allen, so they will use the timeout. That leaves 2:31. Obviously, the run the 3rd and 10. It'll get it under 2 minutes, and Wisconsin will have time left if they can hold. Let's take a look at today's good hands play, brought to you by Allstate. The Ohio State defense coming up huge down there at the goal line as Etienne Sabino and Ryan Shazier forcing the fumble that was recovered by Christian Bryant as Monte Ball was trying to break the FBS career record for touchdowns and tie this game.
Shazier has had himself a phenomenal game here all over the field today, and now it's the big 3rd down. And so you think they're going to have to run the football. You watch if Wisconsin takes a little bit of chance on coverage outside to get people up in the box.
3rd and 10. Braxton Miller from his own end zone looking for space, and he is taken down at the 9-yard line. That was Desmond Southward and Tyler Dipple. So the clock will count down. They will be punting away. It'll be under 2 minutes.
They'll get this thing back with about $140, $135, right around in there.
Jared Abbrederis, former walk-on, now one of their most reliable players. Back at midfield is Ken Buchanan from his own end zone to punt away here for the Buckeyes. And this is not a good punt. It's fielded at the 45. Abbrederis is taken down at about the 41. There's Devin Smith on the coverage. Let's look at the latest BCS standings brought to you by Tostitos. K-State and Oregon to hit the field at 8 Eastern. Notre Dame with an easy win against Wake Forest. Of course, BCS countdown. We'll give you the latest Sunday, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, Jesse Palmer, David Pollock. They will unveil the BCS standings. Last week we had #1 toppled by Texas A&M, and we'll see who can stay the course for the title game.
Kirk Phillips got to make a play here now.
Here's Phillips, 5th-year senior. Pressure, and they get to him.
Guess who?
John Simon, his 4th sack of the day.
Now that's the one thing you could not do. You could not take a sack. He needed to throw that thing away, and they needed to see it quick.
Just the 2nd career start for Kirk Phillips, and now that inexperience, maybe it shows up as he gets this complete to Doe, who darts out, leaving 1:04 remaining on the clock. But it'll be a 3rd and long here.
Doesn't have to get the whole thing back here. If it's there, you take it. You cannot take a sack. You're going to have another 4th down, so you have to have a play right away called, knowing where you're going with it, unless they can get out of bounds.
Abbrederis to the top of your screen. That's his go-to target. Flanked by the great Monte Ball in the backfield on 3rd and 12, a minute to play. Phillips, and this ball is complete. It'll be 4th down. The clock will be running here. 54 seconds and counting, as they will be facing a 4th and 3 here. Under 50 seconds remaining. 4th down.
That wasn't good. They didn't have the play called right away. He should have been at the line of scrimmage.
4th and 3. Phillips, it is complete.
Get the line of scrimmage.
Got a chance here.
He's got to stop. Got to stop the clock test.
Of course, it stops for the 1st down to move the chains. No timeouts remain for Wisconsin. Phillips, just his 2nd start. keep it on the ground to Ball. Remember, no timeouts. We're under half a minute to play.
Look, they're
the
walking
crowd
back
didn't
to the
like
huddle.
that play call at all.
Yeah, they're walking back. You can't do that. That's impossible. That's not good management right there.
And now they have to clock it. So that took valuable time off the clock. Only 19 seconds remains.
That was a very poor first down call. That didn't work. Now you're sitting at third down. You've got 19 seconds. He's got to take a shot here to get a first. Got to get out of bounds. They have to defend the sidelines unless he has something that can get to the end zone. This is enough, there's enough room here to be able to take your shot and still have 2 more downs.
Here's Phillips with time over the middle. Then is caught for a first down. It'll be 1st and goal. Clock stops at 13 seconds. They can clock it there and have their shot at the end zone. And that's exactly what he does.
Now that's what you had to be able to do. That's a huge job. Nicely protected. And Phillips knows where he's going to go with the thing back inside. And guess who? Abbrederis is the guy he looked for the whole way. Eyeballed it the whole time. And now, with 13 seconds, you could conceivably, Joe, get 3 plays in here. The ball's got to come out quick. He cannot extend the play. Ball has to come out quick or throw it away.
Play clock is down under 5.
They're going to push it back up.
Clock operator, the previous play, 13 seconds. The ball was spiked. 1 second will come off the clock to 12 seconds.
Urban Meyer has the Buckeyes undefeated. Brett Bielema wants to prove that Wisconsin belongs in that Big Ten title game as they've been playing better late. And now 12 seconds remain. 2nd and goal. Phillips looking to the end zone and finding. How about that? Jacob Pedersen.
Pedersen just leveraged the coverage, and a nice job of Phillips to anticipate that it's going to come out quick, Tess. That was just a nice spot throw.
The officials want to take a look.
The previous play is under review.
Show you he leveraged Zach Bourne, the inside linebacker. All they want to see is if he made the catch.
All the way through as well.
Which
Consider that. And he did.
That is a great job. You see Zach Bourne on the inside. They did a nice job of anticipating that, working from inside out. So if your defender's going to be on your inside
The ruling of a touchdown has been confirmed.
And now it'll come down to the former walk-on, Kyle French, who this year has missed 2 extra points. He missed a 40-yarder earlier in the game. This to tie it with 8 seconds remaining. (14-14). A little redemption. Monte fumbled at the goal line, but they got another chance, and they came right down the field. Phillips to Pedersen.
Phillips did a great job, and Pedersen had excellent understanding. He's going to be here. Zach Bourne is going to take the inside away. So when I'm talking about leverage, he's going to take the inside away, give him one way to go, which is going to be outside. As a defender, you have to push this and then try to make the play back underneath. Well, Pedersen does a nice job with the push. The anticipation was perfect. Coverage wasn't bad, but Phillips threw it in a spot that only Pedersen could get to, and that was the difference in the play.
Badgers momentum here in the second half, and for Urban Meyer, and he takes a look up at that scoreboard, cringes for a moment. As French had that high pressure extra point. Smith, Rod Smith and Devin Smith will be back. Only 8 seconds remain. And they kick away as it sails deep into the end zone. Both teams have been dealing with close games throughout the year in terms of games decided by a touchdown or less. Ohio State obviously perfect on the year, and Wisconsin has taken some that have gone the other way, all by 3 points. Lost to Oregon State to start the year, and Nebraska 30-27 in the overtime loss against Michigan State. What a story on a day when everybody came to see Monte Ball potentially break the record. The 5th-year senior quarterback Kurt Phillips able to pull it out late.
Yes, we said he had to be able to make a play down the stretch, and he did just that. He was at his best when the pressure was at its highest, and that last throw could not have been more perfect.
Overtime here in Madison, Wisconsin, when we come back. Glad you're with us here in Madison, Wisconsin. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Quint Kesnick, as we have arrived at overtime. Ohio State trying to stay perfect. The Buckeyes 10-0. Wisconsin has been playing better football after a rocky road to start the year. Now 7 wins, and they have clinched a spot in the Big Ten title game, but they want to prove that they deserve to be there, as Ohio State is trying to remain one of the 4 unbeatens in college football.
Monte Ball in regulation, 187 yards and the 1 touchdown. Of course, the fumble when he went for it on 4th down, but he's had a big day here.
Monte Ball on senior day, coming out to the coin toss for overtime.
Good luck in the overtime. Gentlemen, you know it's played like innings. In the inning, each team's going to get 1 team out. We'll play a full inning. Team that's ahead at that inning wins the game. Ohio State, gold side is heads, blue side is tails. Ohio State's call. Tails is a call. It's come up heads. Wisconsin won the toss.
You want to be on defense.
Wisconsin's chosen defense. It's end of the field. You're going to do it at this end of the field. Ohio State, you'll put the ball in play. 1st down.
Bill Lemonnier, the referee, with one of the most easy to understand explanations of overtime I've ever heard. Guys, it's like innings. And guess what? Wisconsin winning that toss means they get the last at bat in this first overtime. As for how we arrived, who would have thought that the 5th-year senior quarterback, Kurt Phillips, who hadn't played since high school until last week, would deliver like this?
You know, and the big thing, and on 4th down, 4th and 4, and then at the end of the game on this last throw, he was money when he had to be money. When the pressure was on and at its highest, he performed his best.
He was 5 for 5, 48 yards and a touchdown on that game-time last drive. And now Camp Randall and 80,000 plus, they come alive here. It is loud in Madison for overtime. Carlos Hyde breaks a tackle and then scoops ahead, does Hyde, near the 15-yard line. And that'll be a 1st down for the Buckeyes.
Now, Devin Smith does a nice job almost to the end, and then they give up the edge.
Braxton Miller keeps it himself, and Miller is taken down near the 10-yard line.
This Wisconsin defense, through the 4th quarter, played extremely well. Now is when they have to play their best. Conversely, same thing for this offensive line for Ohio State.
So much has been asked of this Wisconsin defense. Chris Borland, the starting middle linebacker, out. Urban looks on, anxiously awaiting to see what Miller can come up with here. Miller looking to pass. Now extending the play. Crowd wanted a flag as Miller lowers the shoulder and will make it 1st and goal. The crowd reacting to what they thought should have been a hold on that play on the left side of the line.
On Gilbert on the outside. When he takes off and runs right there, and then another one down here from Carlos Hyde.
1st and goal. Just like that, Ohio State moving with ease, and Hyde just steps over the defender into the end zone, and Ohio State puts a touchdown on the board.
Heck, they just played power football. Did a nice job. Carlos Hyde wasn't even challenged.
Hyde's 2nd touchdown of the day. And the extra point by Drew Basil is good. 21-14, so now Wisconsin has to match. Remember, the leaders division, Ohio State, even though they're ineligible for the postseason, the Big Ten will acknowledge them as the division champs, present them with that trophy. They want that hardware to validate their season. NCAA sanctions say they can't go on to that Big Ten championship game. Wisconsin is going to be there representing the leaders division. There's Ohio State, who scored the game-winning touchdown with 20 seconds in last year's game. Wisconsin reversed things this year, striking late, but now Phillips needs an encore performance here. Monte Ball going to get to the edge, and he is forced out just past the 20-yard line.
It looks like Williams is down, number 43, Nathan Williams.
Ball with his 38th rush there, and ties a career high as Nathan Williams limps off the field. Starting defensive end. A big offensive line for Wisconsin. They have helped Ball. As Monte with 193 yards, the 1 touchdown that tied the FBS career record of touchdowns was 78. He was looking to break it in the 4th quarter when he fumbled at the goal line. Phillips, play action. Phillips, pressure, launches to the end zone, but he throws it far to the outside of Derek Watt. The pressure came from Ryan Shazier.
Again, Shazier has had a monster game for Ohio State. Between he and John Simon, who has 4 sacks, and Shazier with making all the big-time plays, particularly down that stretch, they both have put in a great effort here today.
First overtime, 3rd and 4. Ohio State scored the touchdown, and now they're jumping around, as is often the case here at Camp Randall. Wisconsin has to match. They need 7 to force a 2nd overtime. Ball stacked up, nowhere to go, a loss of 2. It'll be 4th down. Etienne Sabino with a great play there defensively.
So now you got your 4th down. I would like to see a little bit of a kind of a rollout for Phillips. Give him an option. Remember, although he's had surgically repaired knees, he can still run. You want to be able to have the throw and the run option here.
Here's the game to keep it alive. 4th and 6. Got to get to the 15, and it is incomplete. Defended by Christian Bryant, and Ohio State remains undefeated.
Tess, remember the touchdown to put it into overtime. They tried to get to Pedersen. Well, this is the same throw. They were going to try the exact same thing. They came with a blitz. He had inside leverage, just could not deliver because Sabino made a nice play on the ball.
Let's go down to Quint Kesnick.
Coach Meyer congratulating the Wisconsin Badgers. Coach, yeah, exactly. They score with 8 seconds to go to tie it up. What's going through your mind?
Well, what's going through my mind is we're in the student section in a tough environment against a very good team, and hey, our guys played their butts off on the road. We found a way to win 3 road games in 3 tough environments, so I'm proud of our guys.
I saw you talk to your captains. You want to know part of that student section in overtime.
Yeah, this is a nice student section down there, so we decided to play the game down there, and I'm glad that the offense was awful.
Yeah, what made the difference on that drive, though?
Well, the line blocked, and then Braxton is a freak athlete, made a couple people miss on that one, and then we pounded it in there, so that was a great game.
11-0, Coach. Congratulations. One more to go.
Second overtime win by Ohio State this year. Let's go back to that last 4th down, Matt.
Same thing, like I mentioned, they're going to bring the pressure down inside. Pedersen is going to get up the field, and Sabino right here. He's going to take the inside leverage away. Now he's working from downhill. He sees the whole thing. The break he made was beautiful. He's able to get his hand inside there. Is that Sabino? Is that Bryant? Christian Bryant, number 2. That was Christian Bryant. Excellent job by Bryant from the safety spot, and that's the difference in the play.
Michigan now awaits for Ohio State and Urban Meyer. They're 11-0. Be sure to tune in to ABC tonight at 8 Eastern for Saturday Night Football presented by Windows 8. Number 13 Stanford takes on number 2 Oregon. That's tonight on ABC. 21-14 in overtime for the Buckeyes. For now, let's head back to the studio.